Hi, my name's Ash, and this is Crack Minis. And today I'm going to be building a tank for the game I made called Flipping Tanks. So, watch and enjoy.
Sorry, I was a little dry there. It's always a bit nerve-wracking doing an intro before you start building something. And I've been doing this, nearly a year and a half now, and I still can't get used to filming myself. Anyway, let's get straight into it. I'm building a tank for a game I've made called Flipping Tanks. And to do that, the tank needs tracks. And to make tracks, what I'm doing is I'm putting two wheels on a piece of card and outlining them. So I have my basic shape. I know you saw me pull out a gel pen, but I fixed that with a fine liner. I don't know why I have gel pens. I think it's because I like the hexagonal shape of the actual barrel of the pen and I want to cut it up, but I can't remember exactly what I wanted to cut them up for, so it'll be for some build that's in my book of builds that I want to do that I haven't got around to yet. Alright, so once I got that shape worked out, I cut it out, I traced that, and then I cut another one, and then I started gluing wheels on it. So at the back I used the bit. It's like a lid from a yogurt or baby food sachet. I got loads of them. And some toy car tyres that I had. I got those from one of them build your own toy things. I can't remember the name of it. Once I got those on, I filled the centre section full of little gears and stuff from like the inner mechanisms of random tat that I've collected, and some beads that look like gears. And when they were in there, after that, I got myself some EVA foam and wrapped it around it. Once the tracks were done, I started on the hull. Now for the hull, I used the internal mechanism from a bubble gun that I had and some more white tiger's old pieces that I had left over. I still got a few more bits, but I'm saving them for other builds. These just worked really well for the three guns that I wanted either side of the tank. Because in the game I've made, you need three guns either side and a turret on the top that spins. So, yeah. Having that little gap there just made putting those guns in so much easier. So because the internal mechanism for that bubble gun was so thin, I needed to widen it out, which left me this gap in the middle and keep the thing together. I decided to use one of the trays from those crystal sets. And in the back I jammed in a little rocket pencil sharpener. Obviously I took the pencil sharpener out because you can't waste them, and put a little paint cap on the back end so it looked more like a rocket. Just stuck it in there. I glued some plastic on the top and I got out my turret. See, the turret I'd made previously for the last tank build, but it wasn't quite the right size. It looked a bit goofy, but for this it was perfect. But it didn't sit right, so I needed to change that top piece to something a bit better. And for that I used a part of a remote control car's remote control, and it even had a little hole in the middle of it so that I could get the tank turret to spin. What it was is I glued a little rod into a base that I'd cut a hole into, and that let it spin, but it didn't sit completely flush with the bottom of the base, so anything I used for it to sit on needed to have a little gap in the middle. Once I got the turret on and everything else, I started to address the back, which still had this big gap there. Now, to fix this gap, I started with some EVA foam, and then I glued a bunch of other random junk on it, but I forgot to film that. After I filled that back in, though, I started throwing the bits on, sorting out the gubbins. These were just a lot of little random bits from a lot of little random places. I say little random places. It's all on the left-hand side of that left-hand corner of the screen. Yeah, that was me pile of rubbish that I decided I was going to stick on there in some way, shape or form. And that was pretty much it for Greebles. I need to do some rivets in a minute. I'll sort that out in a sec. But before that, I decided it was time this tank had a commander. Now, obviously, I'd left the lid open, and I thought, you know what? Let's stick a guy in there. But instead of a guy, I thought, let's stick a robot in there. And I made him out of random little bits of junk. There's resin pieces that I had lying around, and beads, little bits of plastic, arms. I even got, I think it's a spell crow. What's the name of the legion? It's on the tip of my tongue. The green salamander. I got a salamander hammer. Problem was with the guy, he kind of fell apart on me, and I had to rebuild it, but I didn't record me rebuilding it, so you'll see him in his rebuilt form, all the same parts, just in a slightly different order. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now it's time to talk about the rivets. Okay, so for the rivets on this one, I keep trying to say rivets, but is rivets. So for the rivets on this one, I did them quite sparingly. There isn't a lot of space on this model, so I just wanted them to be where I needed them to be and nowhere else. I didn't want to go overboard and have it look ridiculous. I say ridiculous, but this thing is just super cartoony, which I think just fits the style with the robots and the world I'm building, where the robots in it are all rebels with some form of AI dementia and are fighting a war that they've already lost but just don't realise it. Or they think they're cowboys or gardeners. You know, like silly little things like that. It's kind of goofy. So there it is. It's almost time to paint it. I just wanted to show off any last bits that I missed. I really spent quite a bit of time playing with this, to be fair. I don't normally get my builds done as quick as I did with this one. It took me like half a day just to get... I did it near enough in one whole stint as well. Just built the whole thing in one go, which I was quite impressed with. And it was just fun to play with and all. And having that little bit at the top that spins was great. And now it's time for painting. And that means I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the character that I am painting. I might as well do some lore as well, because I want to add a faction to my world. I've already got the Steely Boys, but someone mentioned in the comments in a previous video calling them the Junkmen. Junkman's a pretty cool name. I like that, because they are literally just made out of scrap on top of like a malformed humanoid. So Junkman. Happy with that. Anyway, so this is me introducing the Robo Rebels to my world. The Robo Rebels are the remnants of a robot army that rose up against humanity. Problem is, it happened years ago when their AI is degraded, so they think they're still having this war, even though there's only like a few of them scattered around in different places in little factions and war bands, running about causing damage. Although, like I said, they're a bit crazy, so sometimes it ends up not being as bad as they think it's going to be, and they don't really do that much damage. They're just more of a hindrance. Like this guy. Take this guy for an example. His name's Shadrack the Hammer. Shadrack the Hammer of High Hill. Shadrack the Hammer was once a labour bot. Long before the Robo Wars started, he would smash rocks with his mighty sledge and then move the rubble with his trusty tractor, the plough. He was one of the first bots to join the Robo army in its early days. Both him and his trusty tractor received many upgrades during that time and fought in many battles across the land. Towards the end of the war, as Shadrack's AI began to fail, he was given one last mission: to guard the High Hill oil depot, a major supply point for the Robo army, and he did an amazing job holding it. He's done such an amazing job, he never stopped and still guards it to this day. Anytime anyone tries to reach or reclaim the High Hill, Shadrack sees them off. A bounty has been placed on Shadrack, and many a hunter has failed to claim it. Locals claim that every time someone goes up the hill, it doesn't take long for the sound of cannon fire and the roar of an ancient engine to ring out. And once the firing stops, robotic chants can be heard. A lone robotic voice singing songs of victory for a war long lost. That is the story of Shadrack of High Hill so far. Okay, that's the story of Shadrack so far. There is going to be more about him. I'm going to talk a bit more about him in the next episode. Like I said earlier, I've been making this game. I've made this game, and I've done this tank. I kit bashed another one, but I didn't film it, just because I really didn't have the time to do both at once, film both of them, and then organise the footage and get it into a sort of cohesive episode. It just didn't work. So that one's just going to be shown as... I'll probably post pictures of that in the community page for you to check out in the next couple of days. I haven't even had a chance to paint it yet. Bear with me on that one. I need some terrain for this, so that's what the next episode is going to be about, is terrain for flipping tanks. This doesn't play a major role, but I want it to look good when I do my battle report. That's going to get included. And that's basically it. I mean, this was the end of the video. I might as well say something about the paints that I used. For this one, I pretty much used just TT combat paint. The basic set. Was looking for different paints to try. I do like the coverage on them, and the colour's really, really vibrant, which I liked. Even though I did mess it up with the wash I put on and had to re-add that colour back on there, but I do like the finished look. I'll say it again because I said it before, like and subscribe. Also, big shout out to everyone who already has subscribed, and if you're watching to the end, thank you very much. And this should put us around about the spinny bit. So you enjoy. I'll see you next time.